Welcome, dear friends, to Kardec Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with one more Spirit of the Truth. We loved this book 60 years ago, 1961. Here comes a group of spirits through Chico, Xavier, and Waldo, Vieira, two mediums, and they come to bring comments based on messages that were published in the Gospel According to Spiritism by Kardec. Those messages were actually received at Kardec's time 100 years prior to that. 100 years. And here comes today. Spiritism asks you. Spiritism asks you. What is Spiritism going to ask you? Who is going to talk about it? Oh, here. Oh, wow. Augusto Militao Pacheco. Let me go this way so you can see his name fully. Yes. Spiritism asks you. Who is he? He was born in Brazil. Yes. He was born in Brazil in 1866, and he died in São Paulo in 1954. He was a homeopathic physician and spiritist. He got to the School of Medicine in Rio de Janeiro, and then he moved to Maranhão, the state of Maranhão, to help with public health issues. Then he came back, and then he stayed in São Paulo. Once he was there in São Paulo, he got to know Spiritism, and it's fascinating how he got to know Spiritism. In the very first years of the 19th century, Militao Pacheco was in a Spiritist session when a medium mentioned about a daughter who was only 52 days when she died. She came to him in the spiritual realm and hugged him. And from there on, he started embracing Spiritism. Later, his wife has a very difficult disease, and through a homeopathic doctor and the good spirits in the Spiritist Center, they prescribed the medication. She healed. When she heard that Spiritism and homeopathy go hand in hand, because homeopathy treats the perispirit, then he became a homeopathic doctor. From there on, he helped so many people. He founded a Spiritist Center named União Espírita Santo Agostinho. And later, he helped in so many organizations. And in 1936, he helped create the Spiritist Federation of the state of São Paulo. He was very engaged. He helped through medicine, through Spiritism, and today he's helping you and I. Militao Pacheco is here to write a message based on the Gospel According to Spiritism. Chapter 1, Item 9. This is a message that was brought at Kardec's time by an Israelite spirit. And he said, God is one. Moses is the spirit whom he sent on a mission to make him known not only to the Hebrews, but to the pagans as well. He goes on and on talking about it, and then he comes. Christ is the initiator of the purest and most sublime morality. He goes on, and then comes at the very end. The time has come in which moral ideas must be developed so that progress contained in the designs of God may be fulfilled. At the very end, Moses opened the way. Jesus continued to work. Spiritism shall finish it. How does Spiritism finish it, right? So let us read what he has to say to us. Through the hands of Chico, Xavier, and Waldo Vieira, Militao Pacheco titles his message, Spiritism asks you. He says, my brother and sister, do not allow yourself to be impressed only with the changes that are shaking up all fronts of work and discoveries on earth today. Like we are very cheerful when we heard yesterday that NASA, the rover Perseverance, was able to reach Mars, to land on it after 7 months of traveling. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's a joy. But he's saying, do not be impressed only by those. Look within yourself and imagine the future. What a statement. Look within yourself and imagine the future. What do you see when he says that? Look within yourself and imagine the future. What do you see? What do you feel? My future. Can you describe what you perceive? And this is not esoteric. He said, imagine the future, because he says, your physical body defines the current state of your spiritual body. Yeah. Our emotions, our thoughts, first shape the dynamics of our spiritual body, the perispirit. And then that molds the physical body. So what we're seeing here is a result of our essence. Well, that doesn't mean that perfect bodies have perfect spirits. No, it's talking about the status. He continues, like ourselves, you have already lived countless lives, and you bring in your spirit the achievements reached in a long journey of experiences over the millennia. Wow. Your mind already has in your memories encyclopedic resources of culture of all the great centers of the planet. Your perispirit has already covered itself with portions of the matter of all continents. Through the clouds that serve you, your radiations have already marked all the halls of aristocracy and all the circles of poverty of the terrestrial plane. You and I have lived in different places already on earth. If you ask, how long have I been on earth? Minimum, according to humankind's history, 5,000 years. How many lives? Many lives. 50 centuries. How many? I don't know. It depends. But some lives. And he says, we have already taken up the bodies of people who are rich or poor. Your person has already integrated the frameworks of power and subordination in all nations. Sometimes we had power, sometimes we didn't have power. And he says, your reproductive and affective energies have already shaped the bodies in morphological configuration of all races. So when we see this silliness of racial prejudices nowadays, it's just so silly. Why? Because we have already been there in other races. So when we see people being prejudiced against another race, they probably didn't accept themselves when they were in those races. And now they repeat it with others. So we need to accept ourselves first. And he says, your senses have already been ravished by the whirlwind of all entertainments. So when people are like, oh, I wish I had a life. We've been there, done that so many lives. Your voice has already expressed the good and the evil in all languages. When people say, oh, I'm not good at languages, but we've spoken other languages in previous lives. It's all stored in our deepest memories. Your heart has already beat to the rhythm of all passions. Your eyes have already been dazzled before all the spectacles known from the darkness of the horrible and the magnificence of the beautiful. Your ears have already registered all kinds of sounds and languages existing in the world. Your lungs have already breathed air from all climates. Your palate has already feasted abusively on the delicacies of all folks. Your hands have already retained and dissipated fortunes in all currencies of the world. Your skin, in different colors, has already been kissed by the sun of all latitudes. He repeats that we're born in different places, in different races, in different positions, social positions, economical positions, intellectual positions. Your emotion has gone through all possible trances of rebirths and deaths. We have already been born and reborn yet again and died. This is why, he says, Spiritism asks you, what do you think he's going to ask? What is he going to say Spiritism is asking us? Suspense. Here's a question. Spiritism is asking you and I today, do you think it's time to renew yourself? What is human life worth without renewal? If you were to continue repeating what you were and what you did in the past, you would not have any need for a new body, a new existence, a new reincarnation. You would go on with a soul joined to the spent matter of the previous incarnation, adorning a garden of corpuses. You live in the flesh again to sharpen your spirit. Listen to this. What a masterful statement. You and I live in the flesh, are here incarnated again, not the first time, to sharpen our spirit. So rid ourselves of laziness and inertia. This thing about the comfort zone, the same mode, is terrible for us. He says, reincarnation is the path of the great light. Love and work and serve. In the view of the good, almost always, we have only been constant in the inconstancy and faithful to the infidelity, forgetting that everything transforms except for the need to transform. We are reborn to transform ourselves. We don't want this thing about, this is who I am, this is who I am. If it doesn't match with progress, we want to change. We want to improve always. So Spiritism is asking us, do you think it's time to renew yourself? And he says, that's why we are reincarnated. What is human life worth without renewal? When I go to the 2000 years ago book by a man, we see a man very proud of himself. Doesn't need to change. He's proud of who he is. He ends his life and understands he made a big mistake because Jesus came to him asking for his deep transformation. He refused. 50 years later, he's a slave, from a senator to a slave, at a very difficult time on earth. But now surrendered, understanding that we're here to progress in the challenges of life are always the proof that God is the super coach of all coaches. God is always saying, come on, stand up, more push-ups. We need more work. We need more love. We need more service. God is saying, I want more from you. And sometimes we don't understand his designs because we think that life is going to progress in a certain way. But God surprises us, taking sometimes loved ones from us, changing the resources we have at hand to more, to less. And when we least expect, he's sculpting our souls. And Militao Pacheco today is saying, you live in the flesh again to sharpen your spirit. I can't say more because the most important thing for us in this message is the question. I'll leave you with a question because I will keep it for me. In the next 24 hours, Mentor Joseph is asking us. Let us ask this question several times a day in the next 24 hours. What is my life worth without my renewal? What is my life worth without my true renewal? Let us keep asking this question and find the new in us. And don't forget that whatever you find out in you, discover in you, it's God's creation. So rejoice. Delight yourself in the new because it's God's works. And if it's God's works, he's asking us to expand in love, work, service. Do you think it's time to renew yourself? Thank you, friends, for being here at Kardec Radio one more time. The truth sets us free, and the truth asks us today, do you want to renew yourself? Thank you, friends.